probably know our next guest from his years on Saturday Night Live or from his digital series, Hiking with Kevin. But now comedian and actor Kevin Nealon is diving into the world of art in his new book, I Exaggerate, My Brushes with Fame, which features his detailed caricature portraits and stories about some of his famous friends and colleagues and people that he's admired over the years. Kevin Nealon joins us now in studio. So good to have you here.
Thank you, Lindsay. I was just thinking about how I would draw you.
Oh, yeah. What would you... I mean, I have a big forehead, so that's definitely going to be part of it.
Yeah, I have a big forehead and dark eyebrows, and I'm getting jowls now, too.
Do you draw yourself sometimes?
I did draw myself in the book here. Let me show you. It's in the end, in the back. They asked me to draw myself. But it's funny, because everywhere I walk now, I look at people, I see them as caricatures, you know, and it's...
That you got, I mean, you made yourself more jowly, really, but that's the whole art of the caricature, right? Because you even have, like, Lorne Michaels in there, and I'm like, are his eyebrow hairs really that long? Is his forehead really that high?
Well, I talk about each caricature in here. There's a little anecdote on the opposite page, and like I've done Chris Farley here.
Yes,
and
right.
I'll tell like a little story about my interaction with him when I was on SNL, and little stories about him, and, you know, whomever it is. You know, even if I didn't know them, then I'll muse, like if I did Freddie Mercury, I'll talk about my first concert, maybe.
Right. How did you decide who to include? Because I know many of them are colleagues, friends of yours, but some people you admired. Yeah. How did you figure out, okay, I'm going to do this compilation?
Well, there's a couple of different reasons why I made my decision. And one of them was because some people that I was interested in or I was a fan of, other people that I found a good reference photo of, like Steve Martin, you know, I was a huge fan of his, I still am, and we've spent a lot of time together over the years. Some of them, like Elizabeth Taylor, I met her once, believe it or not. She was at a Carrie Fisher party, and I was friends with Carrie Fisher, and she had the most crazy parties, and I see Elizabeth Taylor sitting in the next chair. And while you're there, you feel like everybody's camaraderie there, you know, you're all friends, and I see her, I didn't call her Miss Taylor, I said, hey Liz, how are you? And I learned you should never ask somebody over 70 how they are, because you'll get a whole litany of medical problems. So she said, oh, I'm all right. My back's gone out again. And I said, oh, would you put some ice on there? Ice really works well for me when I do. Oh, I don't use ice. I use frozen peas.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah. I said, do you do them individually or the whole bag? And she said, well, I put the whole bag on there, and it's good because it conforms to your you know, injury. And I thought, after that, I thought, that's a great idea. So I used a bag of peas for a long time, frozen peas. It became like, I would call it my Liz, you know, like Tom Hanks Wilson.
Right, yes.
And then I had it in the freezer. I used it really about 5 years, that same bag of peas. And it was even, the label was wearing out. And then I put it on top of the Bengay, where my injury was.
Or your Icy Hot or something.
So I come home, my mother-in-law's over the house, and she made dinner for everybody. And I came out there, I saw peas in the bowl next to my plate. I go, oh, where'd you get those peas? She goes, in the freezer.
Oh,
she cooked my Liz. She cooked my Liz.
Oh, my goodness, that's
and I knew that was probably
funny.
them because they had a little minty smell to them, too.
Oh, no. You started doing this when you were 8.
Yeah.
And you said that you've never had an art class other than trying to draw maps. Why didn't you ever explore this talent? I mean, because I hope that it comes across as a compliment, because this is how I mean it, but you're equally as funny as you are gifted in art.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's funny, I hear a lot of people, they see this, they read it, they look at the pictures, they go, I didn't know you're this talented. I thought, wait a minute, what about my stand-up comedy and SNL and Weeds and all that? But they mean it in a complimentary kind of way. But yeah, I never took lessons. I never thought of really becoming a professional artist because I had other interests. I had music I loved and comedy. And then as I got older, I started, you know, in school I'd be sketching things on the margin of my papers and then learning how to draw maps. And then when I got to SNL, I was still drawing, and I would sketch whoever was sitting across from me during the table read, whether it was Farley or, you know, Lorne Michaels or whomever, and I would just draw them in the margins of my script. If I was stuck in a tunnel going out of New York, or if I'm stuck on the plane on a tarmac, I would take out a sketch pad or a barf bag, if it was empty, and I would just sketch on there, and I would block the whole world out. And then I just started really focusing on it during the pandemic. And I started coloring them. I used to do just, you know, sketches with a pen. Somebody said, you should start using colors and stuff. I said, yeah.
I think that everybody is going to be surprised. Really, as soon as I opened the book, I was like, wow.
I know, I was surprised when I opened. I thought, wow, I am talented.
But
you know,
why did you
Jim
decide to do caricatures? Why that over a portrait?
Because during the pandemic, I couldn't work. I'm a stand-up comedian as well. Very funny. And And so I was used to going out to clubs and theaters and stuff and getting laughs, like a couple weekends a month at least. And all of a sudden that stopped. All of our jobs stopped. And I found that doing caricatures and posting them online was a nonverbal kind of comedy. People would see it and they'd laugh and they'd tell me how that was funny. So that was my way of getting laughs during the pandemic.
And I want to also mention, very popular streaming show that you do, Hiking with Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
And we do something kind of similar. It's called Race to November, and we go running with politicians because they're running, get it?
Yeah.
And I found that it really eases people up. They're really more eager to kind of show you who they are and not necessarily what they want you to see. Have you found that that's a similar in hiking experience, that people are willing to kind of let their hair down a bit more?
Oh, Linsey, it is totally, it is so comfortable for them because we don't. I started off hiking the first season like that, hills like that, and then each season it got lower and lower.
Now you're just flat, right?
No, it's downhill actually, and I have a car pick us up at the bottom. But yeah, people they let their guard down when they're out in the open, and it's because there's no audience, there's no lights,
Right.
and I have just a selfie stick with a GoPro in the end, and they forget. And I don't set them up or put them in an awkward position, but they're very comfortable talking, and I love doing it. The premiere is tomorrow, 4th season, and Paul Rudd is my guest, and I'm excited. I've done over 100 hikes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm exhausted.
I bet. Well, that's why you got to go downhill now. Kevin Nealon, such a pleasure to have you. And to our viewers, his book, I Exaggerate, My Brushes with Fame, is now out, available wherever books are sold. And you can also catch Kevin on his comedy tour as well.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.